Well, joining me now, Victoria Toensing, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division of the Justice Department, Joe diGenova, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, founding partners of diGenova and Toensing Law Firm. Great to have you both here. And Victoria, let's start with the antics of Judge Sullivan today and your reaction to his words, his conduct, and what are your thoughts?
Well, it's bizarre. It's the only way that I can describe it. This is not the Judge Sullivan that we know who has decorum in the courtroom. This is not the Judge Sullivan who took the prosecution to task for their horrible debacle with the Ted Stevens case and even had a special lawyer come in to examine the misconduct by the Justice Department. This was weird. Just plain, I've been doing federal law for 3 decades. I have never seen anything so bizarre. And asking about treason, he showed a lack of sophistication in what that kind of word would do in the press, but also a lack of knowledge of law. It's in the Constitution. It's got to be time of war or giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Why would he ask such a silly legal question?
Joe, does this work to the advantage of General Flynn and his attorneys? His behavior is outrageous.
I don't know, Lou, whether it works or not. It was a body blow to Flynn today. It was a terrible thing from a human standpoint. It was outrageous what the judge did. Here's what the judge should have done. The entire record in this case establishes the totality of the evidence should shock the conscience of the court, and the court should invoke due process and dismiss the case for government misconduct. This is not even a close case. The questions that the judge should have asked today were of the prosecution team, Mr. Mueller. Mr. Mueller, are you aware that there was a meeting in the White House on January the 5th with the President of the United States, Obama, the Vice President, Mr. Comey, Sally Yates, and Ben Rhodes, and Susan Rice, and they were discussing what to do about General Flynn. And then Susan Rice on January 20th writes an email to the record saying, the president said if we're going to investigate him, it's got to be done by the book. Well, guess what? Right after that meeting, that's when Sally Yates floats the Logan Act as the Flynn violation, which is exactly why the agents went to the White House on January 27th. This was a frame-up from day one. That's what the judge should have asked questions about.
And Lou, can I follow up on that?
Please.
Do you have a minute to explain? Because this whole thing started with a leak to the Washington Post by columnist David Ignatius, who's really a typist for the Democratic Party, but I repeat myself, working for the Post. He does that. And then in that leak, the person who committed 2 crimes by telling him about the fact of the conversation with Kislyak and the fact that it was Michael Flynn who was part of it, which was unmasking and then leaking his name. The person also gave him the tidbit about the Logan Act. You don't think Ignatius knew that on his own. And so the putting out the Logan Act in that column then allowed Sally Yates and the Justice Department to say, oh, my goodness, this is what we have to investigate. It was very well planned.
But it's on its face, an absurdity and an insult to say they're prosecuting under the Logan Act because it's unprosecutable. And secondly, their conduct with General Flynn. This poor man has been, the judge basically tried to gut this man today instead of defend him as a defendant in front of the awesome power of federal prosecutors. It is outrageous.
That is exactly right, Lou, and that is precisely why the judge missed a golden opportunity to at least inquire of the government about its conduct, the missing text messages, the failure to produce the original 302 in the notes, the failure to do evidentiary disclosures. This was the most bizarre judicial proceeding. The judge went after the wrong people.
He became part of the Mueller witch hunt.
It was unbelievable.
And it seems to me that the president, who has been calling this a witch hunt from the outset, we can call it lots of things, but what it isn't is a responsible, nonpartisan investigation and prosecution. It can only have one purpose, and that is to attack this administration. It is a group of radical Dems assembled under the special counsel rubric, and attacking this president from every quarter.
It was designed.
Why can't it be stopped? That's my question.
It was designed to get Flynn to get at Trump. It was all part of the plot to frame the president of the United States and to take him down. The president needs a new attorney general, Bill Barr, so he can take control and supervise what's going on, and if necessary, end it. Nothing is going to change until there's a new attorney general.
Let me ask this, just as of you both. Why is there this concern about the politics of deciding to fire the special counsel? Because the Dems are not going to find themselves suddenly one day embracing the administration of Donald Trump. They're not going to be giving this president a great big hug because he did not fire a runaway special counsel. So why, and the rhinos and the Republican Party are not going to love him anymore. So why not end this absolute attempted coup against the president of the United States?
Well, I'll go back to what Joe just said. We've got to get Bill Barr in there. It's a distraction. If he fires Mueller, it's just all kinds of political distraction that this president doesn't need right now with all the other things he's got on his plate. Get Bill Barr in there and have him get control of this out-of-control investigation.
And how long before Barr can be in there? Joe,
he should be in by the first part of February if things work right, even sooner than that. I mean, he's been confirmed 3 times by unanimous voice vote for 3 major jobs in the Justice Department. There's no reason he couldn't be confirmed by mid-January.
So that means Schumer will oppose him with every breath in his body.
He already has.
Yes, he's Republican and he's qualified, so Schumer will vote no.
He already has said it.
Schumer wants Holder back.
Yes.
Yeah, oh boy. That's such a terrible thought.
It is.
But thanks for sharing it, Joe.
Yes, yes.
Victoria Toensing, Joe diGenova. Thank you both. We appreciate it.
Merry Christmas, Lou.
Merry Christmas.